For this tutorial, I'm going to show you the basics of the Adobe Illustrator Pathfinders. Now, I just created a document with these overlapping circles in it, several examples just to show you all of the Pathfinder options. Now, to get to the Pathfinders, you can either go over to this toolbar on your right hand side and you see these overlapping squares. That's your Pathfinders. Otherwise, you can go up to the window on your menu, and then you can scroll all the way down to Pathfinders and click that, and your Pathfinder box will pop up. Now, to show you some of these Pathfinders, here's these circles, and I just want to select both of those with your black selection arrow, and then I go over to this Unite Pathfinder, and what that does is it actually unites both of these circles, so it will get rid of this line that's behind here from the red circle, and it will actually change the color of both of these to the shape that's actually the front shape here. So we go ahead and click that, and you see that it just united both of these shapes, and it did take that blue color. For the next one, we'll select both of these, and then we'll go to the minus front, and what that's going to do is it's actually going to get rid of this blue circle in front. So go ahead and click that, and then it just leaves behind this red circle that we had in the back. For the next one, we'll just select these again, and then we'll go over to our Pathfinder box, and then we'll select intersect, and what that does, you can see it got rid of both of the outer shapes, so anything that overlapped, it actually just gets rid of the stuff that doesn't overlap, and it saves this middle portion, actually makes it the color of what was in front. For the next one, we'll go over to these, and then we'll go to the tool here on the Pathfinder bar, and you see that it actually got rid of the middle portion. So anything that overlapped, it actually subtracts. You see that I click here and there's no shape. And then it does take that blue color, so it always takes the color that's in the front of these. So we'll go to the next one, and then you see the divide Pathfinder over here. We'll click that, and actually it doesn't look like much changed, but if I click off these, click back on them, you see they're still kind of grouped here. It does group them, so we'll go Control-Shift-G, or we can go up to the object menu here, and then we can go ungroup, and then you see that I can actually drag these little portions out, so it separated all of those little shapes. We'll just undo that, Control-Z. We'll go over to our next ones here, and then we'll scroll over to our Pathfinder bar again, and then we'll go Trim. And what that did is it got rid of everything that overlapped, but it still kept the blue in front. We can Control-Shift-G, ungroup that, and you see that I can drag that over, and now those shapes are separated. For the next one, we'll go down to these other circles. We'll go to our Merge, and that actually merged both of these shapes. There's not too much a difference between those there. I can ungroup those, Control-Shift-G, drag it over. This would be more or less if you had three shapes. Let me see here. Just undoing this. So say I bring this shape over here, and then I click back onto this. You see that it actually kept the blue ones in front and got rid of whatever was in the back that overlapped. So I'll undo that to bring it back over. Now we'll go to the next ones, and we'll go on the crop. So click that, and you see it got rid of everything that was outside of the shape in front. So this blue circle was in front, and it actually got rid of this portion over here so that it saved the red, but it got rid of all the color. I can still actually select this. I have the Smart Guides on, which is Control-U, or you can go up here to the View panel on the menu bar, and then you see Smart Guides here. I can actually turn that off. I can go to an outline preview so you can see the lines here by Control-Y, or I can actually go View and then Outline up here, so you can see these lines. And this is the shapes. This shape is still here, even though on the preview you can't see it. I can actually fill this with some color by going to the color panel Say I just want to give it a green color or something, but that actually colored both of them because they're still grouped. So undo that, Control Z, click back on here, and actually press Control Shift G, and that will ungroup them. See, now it didn't select the red over here, it only selected this shape, so we can go back and add our green color in there, and then it just changed the color of this. So we'll move on to the next one. Go back over to your Pathfinders, and then we'll select Outline. Now see, that just actually created the little outlines of the shapes here. You can actually ungroup that, and you see it kind of broke these shapes apart. See, these are not actually, we'll press Control Y to get back into the outline preview. These are not actually connected anymore, so they're not really filled in shapes. We can go over to our pen tool if you want them connected again, and then hover over so you see this minus symbol, you see the X, that will actually just go off the path here to create a new start, but actually go till you see that minus, and then click, and then go back down here till you see that circle, and then you can actually drag this around to reunite that shape. We'll just undo that, and then we'll go over to our other one. And then the last Pathfinder tool is minus the back. Now that's going to get rid of the red circle in the back and just keep the blue one. So whatever's behind that front shape, it'll just get rid of. So we'll go ahead and click that, and then you see it got rid of that red shape and what part overlapped as well. So then you're just left with this blue area. I like to use this. Some of the logos that I do, things are overlapping. I don't really need it in the background. If I'm making something to cut out of vinyl, I always want these lines. We go back to that outline preview with Control Y, and then you see a plotter would actually cut these lines out that are right along here. Say I just wanted two shapes. That's why these Pathfinders are so important, that it got rid of these lines in the background, because it would actually cut all of these shapes out. Like you move down here, it would actually cut these lines here. If I don't want it to do that, that's where this Pathfinder comes in handy, because then I can actually just have it cut out these, instead of cutting out both of these shapes, and then I'm left with this kind of shape in the middle here that would actually separate on the body paint over time, because it's actually cut through here. So then that vinyl would actually begin to shrink with the heat and everything, and it would actually start to pull together, and then you'd see the color of the paint behind it on the vehicle. So that's something that we really don't want. So we'd want to use a Pathfinder like the one up in here. So that's just a short little tutorial on Pathfinders. You can go a little more in depth by just playing around with them and doing different shapes and everything, but that should just give you the basics. And thanks for watching, and please feel free to watch some of my other tutorials.